As we get into the final stretch towards conference championships in college gymnastics, tonight could be a more perfect time for another rendition of one of the best rivalries in all of college sports. Two universities separated by 2 hours, 134 miles, and just 7 spots within the top college gymnastics programs in the entire country. It is Iowa against Iowa State here at Hilton Coliseum. Alex Cohen joined by Annie Johnson. And Annie, you know a little bit about this rivalry right here. Senior night, Cyclones, Hawkeyes. What are you expecting here tonight?
It is a huge in-state rivalry. Iowa does not have any professional sports, so being the biggest competition that Iowa has, it's going to be a huge meet. Both of these teams are coming off of historic seasons so far, so it should be a really exciting matchup all the way up to the last routine.
So, obviously, Hawkeyes, Cyclones, you have the Hawkeyes coming in here, coming off, really a consistent stretch. They had a wonderful meet against Nebraska and been one of the more consistent programs in all of college gymnastics.
Exactly. Their Iowa-Nebraska meet goes down in the history books. They have some really key competitors, including the senior class. It's one of the biggest senior classes that they've had so far, and they've really shown off their leadership by guiding this team through making that career high of a 196.825. And so they should be putting up some really great routines here.
On to the Cyclones. 2 words for you. Maddie Diab, this time last week right here at Hilton Coliseum. Just a remarkable performance, one of the ages.
She's becoming a very familiar name in this gymnast feature. She put up a 10-0 in Hilton Coliseum. The first 10-0 of her career, as well as the second 10-0 in Hilton Coliseum. It was electric, and I cannot wait to see that performance again tonight.
It's the Iowa Court Cy-Hawk meet, Iowa versus Iowa State. Cyclones against Hawkeyes with rotation 1 coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. This is college gymnastics on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. In just a couple minutes, Alex Cohen joined here by Annie Johnson, and we have the rules up right now, but Annie, what an atmosphere it is so far tonight.
This is incredible. Fans are still filing in, and it is going to be a loud one tonight.
So taking a look at the NCAA gymnastics rules, it's 6 gymnasts per team compete in each event. Top 5 scores count. Lowest score drop from each team's event total. And after all 4 apparatus, the team with the highest cumulative score, well, Annie, they win. So you have the home team order, which is Iowa State, vault, bars, beam, and floor. And the Iowa Hawkeyes will go bars, vault, floor, and beam. And if you look at Iowa State, their best, the vault, they go now. So they start with their best coming up. Taking a look at the lineup here for Iowa State on the vault. The Ariana Orrego to start things off. Ana Palacios, the freshman, will follow. Kelsey Boychuk, followed by Josie Bergstrom, Emily Hong, and then Michaela Maxwell. And you could see, Annie, the fans are already on their feet.
This is a wild environment. It makes me just that much more excited for what's to come tonight.
Ready to hop back out there?
Oh, yeah. Maybe not. I'm much happier behind this table, but just glad to be a part of this environment, for sure. Taking
a look at the Hawkeye uneven bars, Allie Gilchrist will start things off, followed by Kaylin Lansing, Marissa Rojas. She will be the 3rd gymnast.
There looks to be a lineup change last minute, so we'll get those lineups to you right away as soon as possible.
As both teams warming up. Again, the Hawkeyes and the Cyclones series history, 86th meeting between the two programs. Iowa State leads 54-31. Last met not during a Cy-Hawk Classic, but during the NCAA Regionals on April 2nd last year. Hawkeyes just edged out the Cyclones 197-50 to 196-525. It was close, but you have to go back to the last Cy-Hawk meet in 2020. Iowa edged out Iowa State. How about this margin? 196-425 to 196-225. It was close.
And that's what I love about this series. It always comes to the last event, last competitor. So that's what we should be expecting to see here tonight as well.
So here's Kaya Parker.
Starting us off with the Yurchenko full. Just about as close as a stuck landing as you can get. You can see the joy in her face. She feels good to start with that vault.
A 9.775 last week against Lindenwood, and what a start tonight.
What a start is right. The vault lineup is one of the Cyclone's stronger events, so it feels good to go out here and nail it. But you really want to start off with a lot of stuck landings. I know that was a great vault, but in order to edge out this Iowa Hawkeye team, they're going to have to really dial in and get those sticks.
So here's Marissa Rojas, standout freshman for Iowa. And again, the Cyclones coming off their best meet of the 2022 season. It was the second highest score under Jay Ronayne in 16 years. Here's Marissa Rojas.
She has not competed on the bars yet this season, opening with a beautiful Ginger, going right back down to a bail handstand. Ending with right into a half and half out and a stuck dismount. Sticks are contagious, I'll say it time and time again, and so to start with your first competitor with a stuck landing is exactly what this Iowa Hawkeye team is going to want.
What a nice performance by the freshman from Canton, Michigan.
And there's another look at that toe hand Ginger.
Here's Kelsey Boychik, 9.875, her career high.
Huge Yurchenko full. Again, a little slight movement in those feet on that landing, but another great start.
9.85 last week against Lindenwood, and the senior from Broomfield, Colorado, looks sharp again.
She has scored an above a 9.8 at every meet other than the first, and she has remained consistent on this event, as really has continued to set herself apart in this lineup the last couple weeks here, inching up a little week by week.
Got the score for Kaya Parker, a 9.825 after a 9.775 last week against Lindenwood. That's a great showing.
Absolutely.
You have one score in so far, still waiting for Marissa Rojas, and on the bars for Iowa, it's Karina Tolan. And if you look at the vault for Iowa State, it was their best event last season, tied 11th in the nation. They're currently ranked 12th, so it's a performance on par with 2021.
Absolutely, and rankings we'll talk about a little bit later are starting to settle in with the NQS. Here's a look at opening up with a Jaeger, right back down to a bail horizontal. Hitting that handstand right on top of the bar, ending with a giant full into a double tuck. Stuck the landing. You can see the coach's excitement in the background, and I can definitely tell that there are some Hawkeyes in this arena.
I wouldn't say that it's quite a split crowd, but Andy, it's pretty darn close. There's a lot of yellow, a lot of black in the stands right now. Here's Josie Bergstrom.
Huge Yurchenko full. What I love about her vault is she really extends out her hips and her lines, makes that really pencil shape, and comes back off the table. You're not only looking at the form on vault, you're also looking at the distance from the table, and she does a textbook Yurchenko full in that department.
9.875 last week against Lindenwood. Here is the standout for Iowa on bars. It's Jerquavia Henderson. Technically, score-wise, her weakest event of the all-around, but a career high done twice, both last year, a 9.85, so still pretty impressive on the bars.
And she did miss the first 3 meets this season, but she's been in every lineup since and a key contributor to this team. As you mentioned, it's not completely a divided house, but there's definitely a home advantage. If you look at the previous series, it's pretty clear that it goes every other year depending on what arena they're in. Hilton versus Carver Hawkeye Arena, and it's pretty much split. The last 2 years, however, though, Iowa had an upset in Hilton back in 2020, and Iowa State had an upset in Carver Hawkeye in 2019. So really anything is to be expected tonight.
Well, you bring back the Cy-Hawk meet. Last year didn't have it. 2 teams saw each other in regionals, and again, it might just be coming off the absence, but there's certainly a different atmosphere here tonight.
Absolutely. They wanted this so bad. I had a chance to talk with Larissa Libby, and she is fired up and ready to go. She missed the season last year due to Big Ten protocols, but they are ready to bring it to Hilton tonight.
Here's the junior from Peoria.
Ending with a huge pull in. That was a beautiful routine put up by Jerquavia, the junior.
A A 9-6-5 last week against Minnesota. We do have some updated scores. Kelsey Boychuk on the vault, a 9.825. Last week, a 9.85, and Josie Bergstrom with a 9.85. So a nice start here for the Cyclones on the vault.
Kaya Parker was just up with a Yurchenko 1.5. The first 10-0 start value vault that you're going to see from the Cyclones tonight, but not the last.
So a trio of scores over 9.825 here for the Cyclones on the vault. And if you look at the bars, a pair of 9.75s from Marissa Rojas and Karina Tolan. So waiting for the score from Jaquavia Henderson. Now, you've been a part of this rivalry. You've been a part of senior night, watching this from afar, and you as a former athlete and a former gymnast, what's going through your mind right now?
This is a highly emotional event. You add in Cyhawk, you add in senior night, but these girls have to put all of that aside and do what they know how to do. It's so important that they do what they do in training and really just focus on their team specifically. There's a lot of commotion, a lot of chaos, but Alex Greenwald, as you can see right here, she understands this series and has definitely had her fair share of matchups with Iowa State, so she can handle this like a veteran.
The senior from Coral Springs, Florida, season high 9-9 back on January 8th against Eastern Michigan.
Really showing off those handstands on this event. She's doing a fabulous job, and all she has left is the dismount that she's hoping to nail. Beautiful handstand yet again. Winding up for that double layout. Not quite the stick, but a fabulous routine put up by senior Alex.
Back-to-back scores of 9.825 in her last two meets. Got the score on Jaquavia Henderson with a 9.725 on the bars.
Here's another look at that double layout and the big smile afterwards.
Here's Michaela Maxwell.
She is 38th nationally on this event. Is going to open with another Yurchenko 1.5 that starts from a 10-0. I saw her stick it in warm-ups. I'm sure she's hoping to do the same here. Just about as close as you can. Small hop on the landing. A fabulous vault other than the landing.
A 9.925 last week against Lindenwood, career high 9.95, and the redshirt junior from Las Vegas, Nevada. This is some of her best routine for her entire career.
Yes, and that just goes to show how this team is really starting to peak at the right time. They had a little bit of a bumpy start at the beginning of the season, but really have been on the rise ever since, which is really exciting to see.
Got the score for Emily Hong on the vault. That's a 9.85. 9.875 career high at the Big 12 championships last season. But again, you look at the vault scores, it is so consistent. 9.825 twice and a 9.85 twice. That's a great start for the Cyclones.
Definitely what they hope to see put up on their first event. Opening with a piked Jaeger, which is a 10th more bonus than a straddled Jaeger. Going down to a beautiful pax hold, just a little bit too much rotation. She got her toes up a little bit too much, but it really floated. Just wasn't quite on top of the bar like she wanted to be. Hit the handstand, just the dismount left. It's important that she finishes strong. Giant full right into a double tuck, stuck the landing. A great finish put up. She did touch the mat, so that will be considered a fall. But she finished great. And now this one is that Iowa State is looking forward to, I'm sure.
Here's Sophia Steinmeier.
Competing a 1.5, first time since her Achilles injury, and she nails it. She tore her Achilles at the last meet, the last matchup against Iowa at the Tuscaloosa Regional, and this is her first time competing vault, and she goes out and does a 10-0 start value, 1.5, and lands it. And I'm sure she is just happy to be on her feet after that vault.
You can see the emotion there. Career high 9.925 at UNI last year, but you said coming off the torn Achilles, and there's just a lot of emotion at that part of the mat right now.
Exactly, and you could see teammate Josie Bergstrom hugging her and saying, I'm so proud of you, and I'm sure this entire Cyclone Nation is, with all the adversity that she had to come through, and she really put her team first and did this for her team.
Going back to Allison Steffensmeyer, All-American in 2020, was the 5th gymnast on the bars for Iowa. And here's Adeline Kenlin, the sophomore from Iowa City. You know, we talk about senior night, Allison Steffensmeyer senior, but Adeline Kenlin and Allison Steffensmeyer, both from the same general area. Steffensmeyer from Cedar Rapids, Kenline from Iowa City, so they know a lot about this rivalry just being from the state of Iowa.
I am sure that they grew up paying attention to this rivalry, and it's an honor to be finally a part of it. I got a chance to talk with both Josie Bergstrom from Iowa State as well as Alexa Abeling from Iowa, and both of them are from the state of Iowa and are so honored to be a part of something that they've grown up their whole life admiring and watching.
I mean, it doesn't matter the sport, football, softball, basketball, gymnastics. When you talk about this rivalry, it is among the best in the country, no holds bar.
You're competing with something bigger than yourself, and she fought for that stuck landing, and she got it.
Her season high on the bars was a 9.850 2 weeks ago, 9.75 against Minnesota last week, and should be right around that range here tonight.
A great performance by the bar lineup here for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
So that is the end of rotation one. We'll take a break when we come back. Rotation two coming up here from Hilton Coliseum. You're watching College Gymnastics on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Just got done with rotation one. Alex Cohen here, and we do have an interview today. It is with the head coach for Iowa, Larissa Libby. 18 years as head coach's rivalry never gets old. What's going through your head here tonight?
Well, obviously, you know, with COVID, it's been a while since we've been back here. And so, obviously, with the big rivalry, it's fun to see people back in the stands again. Certainly, we wish, hoping that it would be at Iowa, not here. But this is great for gymnastics. And Iowa State always does such an incredible job with hosting and making it such a great event to go to, and this is what everybody in the NCAA wants. We want places to be packed.
You had a few little mishaps on bars, but your girls seem to have a lot of energy and seem to carry with grace. How would you say that they're moving on to the next three events?
You know, we have different goals. We've been bopping, I told you, we've been bopping people in and out of the lineups all the time. So we're looking for just a range of kids that feel good together and hit. I'm not going to lie, I'm disappointed with the numbers behind it. I think that they were stronger than that, but, you know, it's different in different places. And so what we were looking for was the 6 hits or 5 hits of the 6, and that's what we did.
Exactly. And floor is a huge event for you. How are you preparing for going into this week?
For floor, the same thing we always do.
Yeah.
That team's very strong, and they work really well together. That's the group of kids, that's the fighters. The ones that are not afraid to get in your face and let's go. And it's been that way for a while. So they've been together for a while. God help us when they walk away. You know, a lot of them are seniors, but we've had great participation from our younger kids too. Favorite event for me because I love to watch them perform. So
absolutely, and you get to see the personality on the event.
Yes.
Well, we'll let you get back to your team. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, Coach. You can tell just by the excitement in her face. She's ready to go. Head back out, coach up the team. But again, rotation one just finished, and we're just taking a look at the vault scores, and just so consistent for the Cyclones, starting with Kaya Parker with a 9.825, Kelsey Boychik 9.825 as well. Back-to-back 9.85s from Josie Bergstrom and Emily Hong, and then look at there a 9.9 from Michaela Maxwell, and we saw the excitement from Sophia Steinmeier with a 9.825. That's a great performance early on here for Iowa State.
And you get to drop the lowest score, and so having 3 of the same score, you're really just going to choose which one of
Right?
those are incredible scores to put up for their first event.
So nicely done for the vault. And taking a look at the Iowa Hawkeyes on even bars, Marissa Rojas, Karina Tolan, back-to-back 9.75s, Jerquavia Henderson, a 9.725, along with Alex Greenwald, similar score. And Adeline Kenlin, the other score that will count. Again, 5 out of the top 6 scores with a 9.775. And Coach talked about some disappointment when it comes to the scores, but she wanted 5 out of 6. She got 5 out of 6.
Exactly, and gymnastics is all about the reset button. Once you move on to the next event, it's a fresh lineup, fresh set of girls, and so you really forget about what happened, whether it be a really awesome performance or not so quite what you were hoping for. You just gotta go to the next event with a clear mind and go out there and do what you know how to do.
So we have the gymnasts just finishing their warm-ups, and here is the Hawkeyes vault. Allison Zulke, the sophomore, will start things off with a 9.775 last week against Minnesota. First 2 meets this year, she set a season high with a 9.8.
Yes, they have had an incredible vault lineup. They have a little bit more unique vaults that you'll see. All of Iowa State's lineup did Yurchenko's entries, but you'll see a few different entries in this vault lineup, which I'm excited for.
Rest of the lineup, Kendall LaPlante, Lauren Guerin, Bridget Killian, and Jerquavia Henderson. So here's Allison Zulke.
Here's that unique vault I was talking about, friend Handspring Suk into a full, and she stuck the landing. That is going to be a huge score for Iowa. And I talked about the reset button, and that is exactly what Larissa wanted to happen.
The transfer from Towson, her first Cy-Hawk meet, and she delivers.
She definitely stepped up to the plate despite the loud environment here in Hilton.
Michaela Maxwell back on the bars. 9.85, her best score this season.
Anna Palacios here. She's opening with a piked Jaeger, huge piked Jaeger. And one characteristic that all these seniors share is maturity. You hear them talk about how they feel that they have grown, and I can definitely contest to see them grow both athletically and personally. And that right there, Cyclone Nation, is a huge routine put up by our first competitor. Here's another look back at that stuck landing on that double layout, huge amplitude, and she is more than excited for that routine. And Hilton Coliseum erupted after that one, that's for sure. It
was Anna Palacios, a 9.85 career high against Auburn, 9.75 against Lindenwood. And there's some jubilation from the Iowa State side after that routine. We have Kendall LaPlante up, the sophomore from Seminole, Florida, 2-time Florida State beam champion.
She will be competing a Yurchenko full. Significant hop back and a little bit of shape break in the air, but a solid performance put up by her. It's not the most explosive vault that you'll see in the lineup, but that's why she's early on. The rest of the vaults from here on out are going to be huge.
First score for the Iowa vault, Allison Zulke with a 9.875. Still waiting for Anna Palacios' score from the bars. Here's Hannah Loyam. A 9.8 last week on the bars against Lindenwood, career high 9.90 at the NIU quad meet. Gymnastics in her family. Sister Emma, gymnast at Boise State.
Opening with a piked Jaeger again. She has pretty much exact same routine as Anna Palacios that we just saw before, besides that packed salto instead of a bail. Beautiful job, well done. I talked last week about she really has to work on opening her hips and her handstands. And right there, she has dialed in the past few weeks on getting those handstands, just looking for that stuck dismount. Not quite there, but a fabulous routine put up by freshman Hannah Loyam. Here's another look back at that double layout dismount. She's looking for that landing, just had a little bit of extra adrenaline there.
Her first experience of the Cy-Hawk rivalry. Linda Zivit. Next one on the vault for Iowa. I'm watching the bars and Nilson Savage. He's just so excited. The coach on the bars.
Definitely brings the excitement, and right there you can see Iowa is matching the excitement. A stuck Yurchenko full. That is going to put up a huge score for the Hawkeyes. Sorry, a Suk full. That's a very unique vault. Not a lot of girls do the Suk entry.
On the vault, we have scores of 9.875 and 9.8, won by Kendall LaPlante. Here's the junior from Norwich, England on the bars. Laura Cook, a 9.875 last week against Lindenwood. And a career high 9.9 also at the NIU quad meet. She's been great so far.
Absolutely. Her first season, I feel like she rushed a lot, couldn't find the rhythm of bars. It's very much an event of momentum, but she has become so confident in herself and her ability to go out and not only do a routine, but do a near perfect routine. And it really makes me excited as she gears up for her senior year next year. Great transition from up to high, back down to low bar. Just the dismount. It's a fast routine. She changed it this year to a double layout. She has had success in finding landings the last couple of weekends. Right there, double layout, slight move of the feet. Another great performance. It seems like Iowa State has a little bit of extra energy with a full house tonight. Can't quite find those landings, but their routines are spectacular so far.
They have extra energy. I have extra energy. You can feel it here at Hilton Coliseum. Just saw a score from Linda Zivit on the vault. That's a 9.925. Really impressive. Lauren Guerin up now.
A massive Yurchenko full. She just is like a rocket off of that table. You can see how much height she really gets and distance. She almost runs out of mat, she goes so far. Here is another look. Flares out her arms and looks for the landing, which is exactly what you want to see on the landing of a vault.
Wouldn't expect anything less from the two-time All-American, three-time All-Big Ten gymnast. And after Laura Cook here is Logan Boswell. And Aloyam on the bars, a 9.725. Still waiting for Laura Cook's score. And there's Boswell, career high 9.9 at NIU last year and a season high 9.8 on the bars last week against Lindenwood. A lot of season highs against Lindenwood last week here at Hilton Coliseum.
Absolutely. It was a great environment last week, and this is just the same. Larissa talked about how this loud, excitement of the environment is exactly what gymnastics wants to see, and the NCAA is really pushing for having the crowds involved. We have cheerleaders here tonight, the band here tonight, the student section that's usually at basketball games. So it's an awesome environment to see as a sport of gymnastics. Opening with a straddled Jaeger. She was a little bit close on the bar with bent arms. That'll be a deduction. Right back down to a bail handstand. She has laser focus when she competes, but she really does a great job at keeping this team's energy loose and fun. Ending with a double layout, almost stuck the dismount. Sticks are contagious, and they just gotta try to find that stick game in them. Here's another look at that double layout. Great shape in the air.
Last week against Lindenwood, an impressive 49.50. It's a season high. Here's Bridget Killian on the vault for Iowa.
And you thought Lauren's vault was massive. Bridget does an even better vault. She really extends her hips, and it almost looks like time is in slow motion when she vaults. Here's another look, actually in slow motion. Her feet are glued together. A fabulous vault put up by Bridget.
The last two scores for Iowa on the vault, 9.925 from Linda Zivit and a 9.9 from Laura Guerin. And we talked about a little bit of a slow start for Iowa to begin the meet, but on the vault, you know, this is a team that's top 20 in the country for a reason, and they're showing why right now.
It's absolutely, and Iowa has historically this season been had a little bit of struggles on the bar lineup. Larissa said it herself, they've had a few changes here and there. They've been riddled with a couple little injuries, and with COVID, it's really been uncertain. They've kind of been, Jesus, take the wheel on this season because they don't have any protocols in place. So it's put a lot of stress on the girls on if they're gonna be able to compete or not, but so far they are doing a great job.
Here's Ariana Orrego, the two-time Olympian, 9.775 last week.
I got to talk to her at the beginning of the season, and she said she's really looking forward to having her sole focus be on college gymnastics and her team. She's always been competing with elite gymnastics as well as she has competed in 2 Olympics so far. But focusing on college gymnastics has definitely helped her. Just with this dismount, stuck the landing, first stuck of the night, and she set the momentum beautifully there. Job well done by senior Orrego in her last bar performance in Hilton Coliseum.
Yeah, that had a different feeling to it. Scored a 9.925 at the NIU quad meet, and you could see the smile on her face, the pageantry there. There's Jerquavia Henderson.
Another massive Yurchenko full. That was even higher than the last ones. Not quite as much distance from the table, but they have done a great job at really controlling these landings. You can see how they're ranked on this vault. Here's another look. Yurchenko full, legs glued together, flares open her landing, and there's not much else to say there.
Yeah, you look for buzzwords there, and athleticism for Jaquavia Henderson. She's just so explosive, and we see some of the scores coming in on the Iowa vault. Bridget Killian a 9-9, so that is 3 9-9s or above on the Iowa vault. And we have the final gymnast on the bars for Iowa State. That's junior Maya Ford.
Maya competed at the first meet and at the gym quarter, scoring a 9.725 with a 9.8 being her career high. She really floats on all of her release moves. She just doesn't have the experience quite there yet, but she is a very exciting competitor to watch on this event as long as she hits, opening with a great cast handstand, up to a chapache, back down to a bail handstand. A deep breath as she jumps to the high bar. Wow. You have a 10-degree forward or backward for the handstand, but she hit it right on top. Little bit short on the dismount. You could hear the crowd with that reaction a little bit, but a great routine considering the lack of experience that she has. Here's another look. Didn't quite get her toes up enough to get that rotation. A little bit slow rotation right there as you can see her pull her toes and her arms down. A great performance put up by Maya Ford.
So just got done rotation 2. We'll take a break. When we come back, another interview, rotation 3. So you're watching College Gymnastics on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. All right, welcome back here to Hilton Coliseum. About to start rotation 3. Alex Cohen, Annie Johnson, here with head coach for Iowa State, Jay Ronayne. And Jay, we talked about it off air. This is a special atmosphere here tonight. There's nothing better than Iowa State, and you can feel it here in Hilton Coliseum tonight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The crowd is gigantic. It feels awesome. The energy is amazing. I can't be more excited about a gymnastics meet. This is what Hilton Coliseum's all about, and so when it's full like this, it's pretty great. It's a magical experience for everybody.
Bringing the Hilton magic tonight for sure.
That's right.
You mentioned last week how a couple weeks ago there was a huge transition in the team, how they kind of just really went off and started getting those big scores that you've been looking for all season.
Right.
And they've been bringing great energy. So how do you think they're going to feed off of the crowd tonight?
I think they're actually performing a little bit more for the crowd than we typically say. All right, we're all about us. Nobody else matters. Focus in on us. And I think they're kind of focusing in on the crowd a little bit, which is helping them. I like what's happening. I think everybody feels the energy and is feeding a little bit off of it.
Sophia Steinmeier on vault. She came up after Achilles. I mean, that was a special moment to share with that athlete, especially here in Hilton on senior night.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what was going in through her head before and after.
She hasn't competed that vault for a year. She just about a year ago, she had a pretty massive injury. She just started landing that vault in practice in the past couple of weeks, and she came up to me and she said, "I'm ready." I'm like, "Really? You're telling me?" So, yeah, she was ready, and so putting her in there, it's just such a magical thing, and to have her do such a great job, first time back, it's something special, especially as a senior and this being her last time in this building.
I got chills, and I'm sure I'm not the only one for sure. So talking about Sophia Steinmeier, one of the seniors, it is senior night, very emotional. How are the girls dealing with that? Are they kind of ignoring the fact until the end?
I'm hoping they are. Just before the introductions, the emotions started to get to them, and we had to kind of pull them back together and refocus them a little bit. But I think they're back to their normal self.
I mean, how could they not? This senior class has really led the team and done a great job. So thank you for joining us, and good luck the rest of the meet.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Coach. Again, he brings it up, senior night here at Hilton Coliseum, and you don't want to think about it, Annie, until you're on the mat, you're doing it for the fans, but just to have a coincidence of Cy-Hawk meet senior night. It brings an elevated sense of experience here. Just watching gymnastics this time of year, right near conference championships, and you can feel that momentum tonight for both teams.
It does. We talked about Hilton Magic with Jay, and it is a thing. So these girls having one last opportunity in a huge crowd to really go show what they are capable of and just have fun together as a team. In college gymnastics, you're competing as a team and for the school, whereas in club, you're competing individually. So it's a big transition and one that brings the most excitement for most of these girls. So being able to compete for one more time with your team is a great experience.
Here's the Iowa Vault scores, and again, you're looking for a score to drop. Well, it's tough to do that when you have 4 scores over a 9-9, 3 9-9s, 1 9-9-2-5 by Linda Zivit, and then a 9-8-7-5 by Allison Zolke and a 9-8 by Kendall LaPlante. I mean, they did it perfectly here tonight.
I am not shocked by any of those scores. They deserve those. They were high-flying vaults, and I am glad to see them rewarded for those scores.
Taking a look at the Iowa uneven bars, the Iowa State uneven bars. Ariana Orrego, the best score with a 9-8. And you have 2 9-7-2-5s, a 9-7-5 from Ana Palacios and Laura Cook. So consistently across the board. You don't get into the 9-9s, but again, those are 5 decent scores on the bars for the Cyclones.
A little bit of struggle, and I'm sure that they're a little bit disappointed in that performance, but that just puts this meet into that much closer of a run.
So Iowa on the floor, Iowa State on the beam. And here's Hannah Loyam to start off rotation 3.
Hannah Loyam, just a freshman, but she competes like a veteran on this event. Opening with a back handspring, layout, step out. Solid as ever. Any fan of gymnastics should know this young athlete's name and keep an eye out for her throughout her career. Her first experience at a Cy-Hawk meet, but she looks experienced as the seniors out here tonight.
I mean, this isn't just an introduction to the Cy-Hawk rivalry. I mean, she is front, she is center.
And she put up a great performance right there. This beam lineup has definitely found their sweet spot. They're ranked 36, which is the lowest of their events, but they have finally found that momentum and that great lineup that provides those scores for them.
They had a 49-175 last week against Lindenwood. And here's Iowa starting their floor routine with Bridget Killian. We'll talk about a model of consistency. No score lower than a 9.75 this year. A 9.825 against Minnesota last week. And her season high on 9.875.
She'll be opening with a huge triple full. That is an E-level skill and one that you do not see in college gymnastics. Buckle in because it is about to soar. Great landing as well. She has been seen in the vault, beam, and floor lineups every meet the last 2 seasons. You can see that from her power that she exudes throughout her routine. A front full, front pike, another controlled landing.
We talk about senior night. Well, Bridget Killian, one of the 7 seniors from Iowa, from Wheaton, Illinois, and you can see the experience in this performance. This is not her first rodeo.
They have powerful routines. Larissa Libby choreographs all the routines, and it really, you can feel the beat in your heart. They just bring the power and energy to this event. A solid start, very controlled landings, ending with a double tuck. A great performance put up by senior Bridget.
First score from the Cyclone beam, Hannah Loyam with a 9.775.
Here's another look at that last pass. She stuck it cold in her last meetup with Iowa State at the Tuscaloosa Regional, but still very controlled landing.
So here's Sophia Steinmeier.
This has been the only event she has competed this season up until tonight when she made that vault debut after that major injury. And I'm sure her entire team looks up to her as a role model. I know freshman Josie Bergstrom, when I talked to her, she said she was someone that she noticed and looked up to all throughout high school being from Iowa, and being on this team has been so special, especially led by this senior right here that you're watching.
Redshirt senior from West Lawn, Pennsylvania, and when talking to head coach Jay Ronayne, you brought up the name and a smile exuded from his face. You could see how highly he thinks of his redshirt senior and how much he wants her to go out on top here tonight in front of the crowd at Hilton Coliseum.
I think that big smile is also produced to see the growth of this athlete. She has not only grown athletically, but in her leadership skills, and she has found her voice. She came in very quiet as a freshman, but has been able to step up in a leadership role, nailing her last beam routine in Hilton Coliseum and last routine for tonight. I'm sure she's feeling a lot of emotions on that performance right there. And it has been a joy to watch this girl in Hilton Coliseum over the past 5 years.
I mean, it's not only the Hilton Coliseum, Hilton Magic senior night, it is all the frustration and the energy built up from the last 2 years, how chaotic it was. And you could tell with that final exaltation, yeah, how excited she was to be able to do this tonight.
Last event, yes, absolutely. She controlled the emotions very well, though.
Marissa Rojas, the freshman from Canton, Michigan. Season high 9.875 on floor at Rutgers on February 11th. Again, she's a freshman, two-time regional and national qualifier in high school, placed second on the floor in nationals at the high school ranks.
Super energetic performer, very fun routine and fun music that I'm sure the Cyclones even are getting into. Nice double pike. She fell at the big 5 meet on that scale, so I'm sure it feels good to come out and hit that. In words of Larissa Libby, this team is superbly talented and they thrive in competition, which you can see here tonight. These freshmen right here has been led by Marissa, and they have really kept up with their older ones, and she explained it as baptism by fire. Marissa right here has stepped into high pressure scenarios and thrives in those situations, as you can see in her awesome floor performance right there.
Yeah, Coach Larissa Libby talked about the floor being the backbone of this team, bringing the enthusiasm, bringing the energy, and Marissa Rojas, she exemplified that.
Absolutely, and being able to show off your personality in your gymnastics is a huge component of that.
So here's Josie Bergstrom on the beam. 2 scores on the beam for the Cyclones, 9.775 for Anna Loyam and a 9.825 from Sophia Steinmeier in her final beam performance here at Hilton Coliseum.
Josie gets to follow one of her role models with one of my favorite series, that front toss back handspring step out that you just saw. There's her switch leap, leap pass. She described herself as working well under pressure. And these are the quality coaches like to see as freshmen, because you can teach a lot of things, but just a competitive nature is something that's hard to teach and instill in your athletes.
And that is innate, that is an intangible. And you can see it here with the freshman from Boyden, Iowa.
Side aerial into a back full, and despite her family being Hawkeyes, I'm sure they're wearing Iowa State get up all over and are super proud of her performance.
A 9.825 on the beam last week against Lindenwood. Smile on her face. After rotation, too, we didn't look at the score. 98 for the Hawkeyes, 98-225 for the Cyclones. So very close. And right now a conversation on the floor.
They're giving a run for their money, that's for sure.
Looks like that is the judges having a brief conversation, and we're taking a look at the scores on the beam again. 9.825 from Sophia Steinmeier, a 9.775 from Hannah Loyam. And still waiting on the score for Marissa Rojas. On floor for Iowa, Bridget Killian with a 9.775. Wouldn't expect anything less.
Nope, I knew that it was going to run up to the last event, last competitor, and that's what it's looking like it's about to become. But we mentioned scores, and this point in the season, it's the 8th meet of the season, and it's getting to be RQS, where they take their top 3 away scores, and then their next top 3 scores, whether that be home or away, and average them out, and that's where you find their rankings. So Iowa being ranked 19th and Iowa State being ranked 26th, starting to come into play. Wins and losses, I know the Cy-Hawk is a big series, but wins and losses don't necessarily really matter in gymnastics in the rankings, trying to get to that national championship by the end of the year.
Where it matters most is the fans in Ames and the fans in Iowa City when talking about the Cy-Hawk matchup. Here's Alex Greenwald. 9-9, her best score on floor against Penn State earlier this year. Career high, a 9.975 back in February of 2021.
This will be your last event of the day and my favorite event of hers to watch. Both pairs were actually gymnasts at Kent State. She does only do 2 passes in her routine, but very difficult passes they are.
And you can see her movements concise.
A human physiology major along with the majority of this team, actually. She is a 2021 Scholastic All-American and a 2021 Academic All-Big Ten member. And she really puts an emphasis on schooling. And when I talked with one of their freshmen, they said that this senior class leads both inside the gym as well as outside of the gym and serves as mentors for the rest of the team. Oh, short on that landing, a 2.5 punch front. Very difficult pass, just didn't quite have a lot of steam. I believe she put her hand down, so that will count as a fall. We'll take another look at that. Here's another look at that huge first pass, rounded back handspring. Full in, full twisting, double back, very open shape. And here we'll get to see that not quite a lot of rotation, 2.5. Just looked like her legs gave out a little bit. Wasn't quite there on the landing.
Here's Logan Boswell after Josie Bergstrom scored a 9.85 on the beam. So a pair of scores over 9.8 and then a 9.775 from Hannah Loyam.
I mentioned it on bars and I'll mention it here. Logan is a fierce competitor. Oh, slight balance check. Those were some of the nerves. It looked like she was a little bit off, but couldn't quite correct herself. Had to take a significant wobble. She just has to take a deep breath, reset herself right here, gearing up for her series. Another slight balance check. You want to see that front foot stay on the beam when she lands. They are coming off of their best beam performance from last meet.
There was a lot of season best last meet against Lindenwood. In fact, the second highest score in the Jay Ronayne era.
Just the dismount, side area back full. Slight step back. She looks a little bit disappointed in that performance. I know she was hoping to hit a stuck no move routine. But staying on the beam in gymnastics is what they are looking for. Beam is the event that will separate these two teams and I think win the meet. So I know they were looking to nail all of their routines.
So Claire Kaji up for the Hawkeyes, and you talked about the nerves for Logan Boswell and being a part of this rivalry. Do you think that shows? Is it any meet at Hilton Coliseum, or is that especially to tonight with senior night and against the Cyclones and against the Hawkeyes? Do you think that gymnasts here have a different set of nerves?
You know, there's a lot riding on this meet. They didn't get to have it last season, and so they're more than eager to get out here. And with that, a huge crowd, one of their biggest of the season so far. And so that can really help them or hurt them depending on how they use that energy. If they focus too much on external things, then that might become a distraction. They just have to stay in their little bubble and do what they know how to do. As Claire Kaji is doing so well, the 5th-year senior. She arrived on campus 5 years ago and has a 9.925 career high, which helps lead the team to their Big Ten regular season champions last year.
Her best score this year, a 9.9 against Penn State. It was actually the first time she was on the floor in 2022. Well, she started off hot.
And Larissa said she could write a book on this senior class, and especially this athlete right here, choosing to put her life on hold and stick another year around for her COVID year. And they have set the bar high with their culture and have led this team with conviction, she said.
She's pretty pumped after that. The senior from Vancouver, Canada. Happy with her performance.
Here's another look. All those landings were spectacular.
So here's Alondra Maldonado. Season high 9.675 on the beam at the Jim Quarters Invitational a couple weeks ago.
The only time she did see action on beam this season. It's hard to come up with an experience after a not perfect routine, but you could see it right there as the camera angle was on her face. She looks like she is not playing around on this event.
Yeah, you talked about Logan Boswell's focus. Well, I see that in Alondra Maldonado right now as well.
It's definitely an event you have to turn on your blinders and focus on what's right in front of you, the 4 inches of beam. Not a whole lot, but she does doing a great job so far. Putting a little bit of personality into the routine. A gainer full, dismount, and what a great performance. That's for sure going to beat out her season high of a 9.675. Here's another look at that dismount. Slightest little shuffle of the feet right there.
Late addition to the lineup and might have paid off here for the Cyclones. Lauren Guerin, second to last gymnast on the floor for the Hawkeyes. 3 scores already reported, 9.775, 9.750, and a 9 for Alex Greenwald.
She has very intense dance, which I love, and she has had a 9.975 7 times in her career, and has competed in every meet on this event the last 2 seasons. And you can see why right there. That is the most massive full in. I could have taken a nap under there for a few seconds until she landed.
Look at the height.
She is ranked 8th on this event, shared with teammate Jerquavia, who you'll see next in lineup, and the 2021 Big Ten champion on this event. And the coolest part about this senior class in particular is they started off with 3 scholarships, 3 walk-ons, and all of them have earned scholarships in their time here. And I think that just speaks so much more. Having to prove yourself to earn a scholarship is just about the biggest accomplishment that these girls can have, because it speaks to them not only athletically, but as individual leaders as well.
She has not scored lower than a 9.875 this year on floor, and well, you could see why.
Wow, that was a great performance. You could see the girls showing a 10. The Hawkeyes as well are showing 10s, and that'll come pretty close. I'm not sure if the Iowa State fans will allow this to happen, but we should wait and see. Opening with that, ending with that front toss through to a double tuck.
Well, we just got a score of 9.925 from Claire Kaji on the floor. It matches her career high. A season high, but now the 5th time in her 5-year career that she scored a 9.925, and she does it here tonight.
Wow. What a special night for that to happen.
Here's Meishi Semple. Tied her career high last week with a 9.9 on beam. Originally set at NIU last year. Really finished off 2021 strong and continuing that. The Ontario native into 2022.
She is a crucial name for this beam lineup and really is able to build off of the lineup that the lineup before her has set up for her. And she is no stranger to scoring in the 9.9s, that's for sure. Great backhand spring layout, step out. A little bit off, she had a balance check there, having to correct her hip position. You'll want to see the end of the beam when you land, not have your hips off center. Cat leap into a switch half. I'm honored to be able to watch these girls perform in Hilton for their last time. She is such a beautiful competitor on this event, and to be able to have witnessed her growth throughout the years is something that I do not take lightly. Just the dismount left, side area back full, very capable of sticking. If you blinked, we'll count it as a stick. Great performance put up by senior Meishi Semple.
Just got a score for Lauren Guerin. Well, that's her best score on floor ever, a 9.975, besting her previous high of 9.95. Wow. But here's the main event.
Jaquavia has very spunky routine. Also has scored a 9.975 this season, so she is set up to score a 10 if she hits perfectly. And if the Hawkeyes score a 10, I don't want to hear what Cyclone Nation has to say about that, but if anyone deserves it, it's this athlete right here. She is tied for the school record on this event. Opening with a full in, massive stuck hold. There is nothing that the judges can take on that pass right there.
Well, she saw Lauren Guerin tie a school record a couple minutes ago with a 9.975, and Jaquavia Henderson with 10s on her mind.
She is hungry for that 10, and I can see it in her face right here as she gears up for her next pass. I love watching this competitor perform.
I mean, there's show, there is entertainment, there's pageantry, and the trio all here with Jaquavia Henderson.
Great showmanship. Front through to a double tuck. Wow. And that was her last pass. She has a 2-pass routine. I don't know what the judges are going to take on this. They can make it as a real exciting competition right here if they throw that 10 up for her.
Put on your judge cap right now. What did you think of that performance?
You know, in Hilton, it's hard to say. It's harder to score a 10-0 in Hilton Coliseum, but I will be surprised. I mean, look at that right there. There is nothing that you can take on that. Right here, legs are glued together, sees the landing. The only thing right there is her front foot did shuffle back just the slightest, so they could take a slight deduction there. We'll see how nice they're feeling.
She's just such an explosive athlete. Just got done rotation 3. Almost finished here tonight. Another Cyhawk meet about to be completed. We'll go to rotation 4, wrap things up here from Hilton Coliseum. Again, you're watching College Gymnastics on Big 12 Now on ESPN+.
I would have to say crazy if I could pick one word, to be honest. Freshman year and sophomore year, there was a lot of struggles, but I think that comes with the sport in itself. Last year and this year, I would say there's a lot of growth, especially me personally as a gymnast. I kind of hit my stride last year. Looking back at it, it's been an amazing experience, and I don't think that I would trade it for the world. I've really enjoyed being here, even through like the ups and downs, but it's taught me a lot about who I am as a person and an athlete, and it's been really special.
I think overall it was probably the most rewarding experience. What I was coming into as a freshman, and I was super shy and really nervous to like speak my mind. I think throughout the years I've been able to open up to the girls, and it's just been a great program to be a part of. Just coming into the gym every day with these 26 girls and the girls throughout all the years have just been really fun. It's something new every day, and coming from different cultures and backgrounds have really made this place even more special.
I say my experience has been very up and down, and from when I came in as a freshman, I had no idea what to expect. I think having a variety of different seasons, including like a full season, a COVID, and then a season where I can't even compete, I've grown as a person, and I've also learned a lot from the girls around me. This program has brought a bunch of girls that I can say that are going to be my best friends for the rest of my life. They just mean the world to me. Living in Iowa has been really, really fun, and I've loved every experience that I've had. I love the snow, and I'm just really grateful for every single opportunity.
I feel like I would describe it as a growth journey. Coming to a different country, having to learn a new, completely different culture and language, like really opened my mind as a person, and being able to share this experience with so many different girls from around the world has made me value what it is to be a cyclone.
I went from
doing like gymnastics to getting into this culture of team setting and team bonding. It was insane to me how much you can grow besides people, especially my teammates. They just taught me how to get yourself to do things that you never thought you would want to do, like work hard for 27 people at the same time, be positive to your own self, give yourself grace, and give credit to your own self. I think I've never really been able to do that until I got here, and that's definitely thanks to my teammates and my coaches.
I think that coming here, I was super excited to do college gymnastics because that's something that I had been looking forward to since I was a little kid. It wasn't something that I really got to do. I think it's been awesome to see, the world of gymnastics from a different perspective. Getting to work with the girls in a different way has been awesome. Like, I love them with my whole heart. And so being there for them every single day and just seeing how hard they work and everything that they go through has really been an awesome experience.
My experience as a Cyclone is a very positive and joyful experience. Coming in freshman year, it was very exciting, obviously being an international student and experiencing the American college life. My teammates mean the absolute world to me. I love them with all my heart, honestly. We're kind of like a little family and like a home away from home, so it's been really nice.
I will describe my experience as full of opportunities. I'm very thankful for everything this program has offered me. It's completely different than home, but I do really like it here. It's been very fun, the family that this team has become to me, and I'm just very happy that Iowa brought them to me.
I've always preached about how much I love Iowa State. Having the opportunity to compete and represent a place like this, something that's bigger than myself, has been an absolute joy, so very blessed. You only get 4 years to do the sport in college, so overall I'm just going to miss just the experience of being a student athlete here because it's the best.
Welcome back to Hilton Coliseum, another Cy-Hawk meet coming to its conclusion. Alex Cohen joined by Annie Johnson. And Annie, you have the Cyclone floor coming up. They scored a 49-350 last week. They will need all of that to really surpass Iowa right now. If you look at the score, 147-625 for the Hawkeyes and 147-75 for the Cyclones.
The Cyclones are absolutely capable of surpassing Iowa on this event, and I'm sure it's reassuring to know that they are ending on one of their strongest events coming off of last week with Maddie Diep's 10-0. We're right back over here to the beam with Jaquavia Henderson. Just saw her on the floor, ending up with a 9.975. Didn't quite get that 10.
It's close.
Very close, just about as close as you could get. Nailing in that 9.975 that she has previously scored before, but back over here to the beam. She has competed in all-around this season as well as last season.
9.875 against Rutgers on the beam. It ties her career high.
She finishes with a double tuck dismount, a massive skill, one that is competed on floor, but she chooses to do it on beam. Why not? And significant hop back, but that was pretty much the only deduction in their routine. A solid start for the Hawkeyes to keep up with the lead that they have so far.
Cyclones will start with Laura Cook on floor.
This is a fun routine, very energetic. Juicy wiggle is her music, and I'm sure Cyclone Nation is resisting the urge to pull up their flashlights as they do at football games here. Opening with a front double full. She usually does a front double full into the sag jump, was a little bit off. She did fall on this event on her last pass, last meet. But the Cyclones thankfully got to drop her score as everyone outscored her.
You look at the rest of the lineup for the Cyclones: Ariana Orrego, Anna Loyam, Alondra, and Andrea Maldonado. And then the grand finale, Maddie Diep will finish it off.
Iowa State's floor lineup does best when they are performing for a crowd. And what better crowd to perform in front of than your home crowd with the most amount of attendance that they've had so far. 1.5 front full, was kind of unsure with that stag jump. She transferred that stag jump that usually is after her double full on her first pass to her last pass. Right here you'll see a little bit soft legs. Didn't quite get that good set and throw at the beginning. And then she put a 1.5 front full and added that stag jump right there, a little soft landing. Hopefully they'll be able to drop that routine. A little bit of a few mishaps there.
Jaquavia Henderson first on the beam with a 9.725, and here's Mackenzie Vance. Rest of the Hawkeye beam lineup: Bridget Killian, Claire Kaji, Marissa Rojas, and Adeline Kenlin.
A great series put up by Mackenzie, and right out to a unique skill of Brandy. That's a aerial landing with 2 feet. Larissa mentioned that this season has been difficult, more so than last season, and part of that I would owe to their Iowa men's gymnastics program being cut, along with Minnesota and William and Mary. And William and Mary fought for their program and was reinstated, but it's unfortunate that men's gymnastics only has 13 teams to choose from, and the difference really, women use NCAA to wrap up their careers and end on a fun high note, whereas men use that as an avenue to train with the top male gymnasts as a spot on the Olympic team since they peak later. So it's unfortunate that they got cut, and hopefully there's more progress
That's nicely,
on that front.
Sorry about that. That's nicely done by Mackenzie Vance.
Side aerial tuck full dismount.
So here's Ariana Orrego. The margin for error here for the Cyclones to come back in this Cy-Hawk meet. You'll need a big-time performance from Ariana Orrego right now.
She scored a 9.875 when she saw Iowa her freshman year, and I have loved being able to see her grow in her performance. In elite gymnastics, you can't really do the facial expressions and show off as much, although she does have incredible dance no matter what avenue she's competing down. Opening with a huge double tuck. A little bit of extra energy right there. She is capable of several E-level passes, but she's going for longevity in this career. She doesn't have to throw all of her most difficult passes in college gymnastics. 1.5 front layout there. You can see a bit of a smile on her face.
Talk about the smile. You can see the smile on the fans here. They're getting into the routine as well.
She just gave a reassuring nod to teammates on the sideline, saying, I got this. And she absolutely does. Ending with a double pike. Great landing for a senior in her last performance here in Hilton. And
she's just such a decorated gymnast, and she caps it off here at Hilton Coliseum with a wonderful floor routine. Can't imagine a better one than that.
And you can have all the accolades, but I know for this athlete in particular, it means nothing without being able to share it with her team. And you could see her team run up to her there at the end.
Third gymnast on the beam for the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's Bridget Killian. Mackenzie Vance scored an even 9.8. Bridget Killian last week against Minnesota, a 9.7 season high, and 9.85 back on January 17th.
She has a very soft performance, and I don't front tuck right there, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all. It's just an easy routine to watch and really sinks into all of those landings, making it not look like she's putting much effort into it, which I love to see on beam.
All-American in 2020. Bridget Killian, senior from Wheaton, Illinois, career high on the beam, a 9.875.
A double full dismount, one of my favorite dismounts because it just floats so beautifully. This senior's legacy will be talked about for a while in the records books. Iowa had their senior night on February 4th and competed at home for the last time then, so I'm sure they're enjoying a senior night 2.0 here at Hilton Coliseum.
Aloyam getting ready. Third gymnast on the floor for the Cyclones, Ariana Orrego. Score came in at a 9.85.
Speaking of a 9.85, Hannah Loyam has scored this season. She opens with a massive double layout. She just has to find that landing.
We'll see if she gets that right here. Opening up with that skill. Huge double layout. I don't think I've seen her hit that skill like that yet this season. I'm sure that is a great sigh of relief after that first pass is over with. Next up, a 1.5 front layout, gorgeous. She is taking place for Rachel Wilkie, who is out resting this week. A long season ahead, and they're starting to gear up for postseason now. It's right on the horizon, so they have to be smart. I know both Jay Ronayne and Larissa Libby talked about having smart gymnastics. It's training smart, not training hard. Ending with a double tuck. Great landing. Chest was a little bit down, but that is the best routine that I have seen this freshman put up this season in her career.
Talk about putting your stamp on the Cy-Hawk rivalry as a freshman, and that sets quite a precedent right there.
She laid a great foundation down for years to come for her and the rest of the team.
So here's Claire Kaji. She will follow up Bridget Killian on the beam. Bridget Killian with a career high and even 9.9.
This is going to be a close one. Iowa has been competing like they are at home, and it's awesome to see them make home out of this Hilton Arena. Claire Kaji is a former elite competitor. Beautiful back handspring layup step out.
3-time All Big Ten, a 9.95 in the beam. Second best in school history. She's done it twice.
You're in presence of a legend for this Iowa Hawkeye team.
Been with the program since 2017. Injured in 2018, COVID year 2020, and now finishing off her career in 2022 and doing it in style.
She really has experienced just about everything under the sun in her career. And I am going to miss seeing this athlete compete with such heart and passion for gymnastics, her team, her school, with everything. She has really just done a fabulous job at embodying what the Hawkeyes stand for.
Getting ready for Alondra Maldonado on floor, and we talked about Hannah Loyam as a freshman putting her stamp on her freshman season. How about a 9.925?
That's pretty incredible to see from this competitor. She has even bigger things to come the rest of her years at Iowa State.
We talk a lot about senior night tonight, but the youth, the freshman Hannah Loyam, we have Alondra Maldonado right now, an underclassman, and the future is bright for Cyclone Gymnastics.
Exactly, and a big part of that is to this senior class. Yes, the coaches have responsibility in guiding this team, but it's really the senior class that takes the responsibility and ownership. And this is their team, and they have the ability to establish the culture that they want. Round off back handspring, double pike. What I love about Alondra is that she does not hold back whatsoever, and no matter what she is doing.
You can feel the energy.
Blows a kiss to the judge, hoping to get a half-tenth maybe added back to her score.
Plays to the crowd.
Most definitely, and that is what brings in this size of crowd, is this event right here. She really established herself on this event, and I'm so happy to see that finally after years of exhibitioning. She has really deserved this spot in the lineup. A great performance put up by Alondra Maldonado. Scored a 9.85 last season, hoping to do the same, hopefully more right here tonight.
We have Andrea Maldonado, Maddie Diab, the final two gymnasts on the floor for the Cyclones. Here's Marissa Rojas, the second to last gymnast on the beam for the Hawkeyes. Claire Kaji with a 9.875. Last two scores for the Cyclones on the beam, a 9.9 from Bridget Killian and a 9.875 from Claire Kaji. Cyclones trailing coming into rotation 4, and Hawkeyes making it difficult right now.
Absolutely. Both teams are definitely giving a run for their money, and it should be interesting to see how this night ends up and what school can have the bragging rights for state ownership.
Marissa Rojas, a season-high 9.925. Back on January 22nd at Michigan State. Scored a 9.825 in 3 consecutive meets on the beam coming into tonight's action.
Yeah, I've not seen her compete in the all-around, but in club gymnastics, she was a stellar competitor on every event. So expect to see her name a lot more as she ages. And it's so nice to see a freshman in this beam lineup on floor. It was pretty upperclassmen heavy, but one thing Larissa did talk about is that every competitor, other than 1 or 2, has had the chance to compete or exhibition this season. And to see that contribution throughout all of the classes is so great. And to get that experience is one thing that the freshman, I'm sure, is super grateful for.
The future of this rivalry, Marissa Rojas and Hannah Loyam, both freshmen, but here's the senior from Bayamon, Puerto Rico. It's Andrea Maldonado. Career high 9.95. She's done it 4 times. And a first-team All-American in 2020. Iowa State's 3rd first-team All-American.
Opening up with a huge front double full to a punch tuck. She is capable of doing a triple full. She is capable of doing a 2.5 or a Randy, but played around a lot with different skills. All of them are equally as difficult. It's cool to see her toolkit just pick and choose which one she feels like for that night.
Look at her teammates right now. They are feeling the energy of this performance from the senior.
Right there gave them even more energy if they didn't have it already. And here we go, Buckland Cyclone Nation. It is about to get loud in here.
Thankfully, we have headphones on.
Thankfully.
Alondra Maldonado with a 9.875, and here's Andrea Maldonado. Just the 4th 9.975 on floor in school history. What can she do tonight?
And one final bow from the senior in Hilton Coliseum. Here's another look at that first pass here. Huge, very controlled landings, not much of a deduction there. The crowd is chanting 10. They want it. I know the gymnastics team wants it. We'll see if they reward her for that
They
stellar
have 2
performance.
hands up.
Flashing those 10s all around the lower bowl.
Waiting for Adeline Kenlin, the sophomore from Iowa City, to finish off rotation 4 for the Cyclones on beam. Still waiting for Marissa Rojas' score. And going through the scores on floor for the Cyclones, 9.625, 9.85, 9.925, and a 9.875. Here's Adeline Kenlin. Tied her season high with a 9.925 on beam against Minnesota. Her career high last year against Nebraska, 9.975.
The student section has started the wave officially, hopefully trying to distract the Iowa beam lineups, but Adeline is exactly the person you want in this position. She is the 2021 Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and she is capable of scoring big. Their Cyclone Nation is really getting rowdy here with the wave going on.
What do you call it, a home gym advantage, home mat advantage?
Home meet advantage, yes, and that is definitely showing right here. Iowa has not let it rattle them in the slightest, though.
The Wave making a comeback here in 2022.
I love it.
So Adeline Kenlin, the final gymnast for the Hawkeyes tonight. Got the score for Marissa Rojas, a 9.725. Score came in for Andrea Maldonado in her last floor routine at Hilton Coliseum, a 9.9.
Wow, that's exactly what she was hoping for. And Adeline here did have a little bit of a knee tweak, which is why we're not seeing her in the all-around as she competed in the other meets. But she has been a key competitor in the events that she can compete. From Iowa City, I'm sure this is a dream being able to compete for the Iowa Hawkeyes, potentially leading to a victory depending on what these final scores are.
And Cyclone Nation knows it. This score right here could be huge for Iowa State. Put up a 10-0 from Maddie Diab last meet and is hoping to copy and paste that right here tonight.
Currently tied 26 nationally, third in the Big 12. But a perfect 10 last week.
Front double pull into a punch layout. A lot of girls just do the punch layout. It is a deduction to take a step back in a forward pass instead of forwards. So unfortunately, I don't think it will be a 10 tonight, but that does not stop Cyclone Nation from clapping along and really joining in on the fun that this routine brings. Nailed her second pass, flashing a smile to the judges.
Junior from Glen Ellen, Illinois. Back-to-back specialist of the week. And you can see why.
Her lowest score this season is 9.775, which is some athletes' highest score, and she's a very impressive athlete to watch. Again, another person I'm excited to watch as she steps into her senior year next year. Nailed the last pass. Very happy with that performance right there.
Puts the crown on top, and another dynamite performance from Maddie Dabb.
They are on their feet, waving flags, showing the big Cy heads that they have. And I know Cy is trying to get the crowd hype as well.
Just finished off rotation 4. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the final score tonight. We'll wrap up things from Hilton Coliseum. Another Cy-Hawk matchup. Cyclones, Hawkeyes are watching. College gymnastics on Big 12 Now and ESPN+.
I would have to say
Coliseum. Alex Cohen joined by Annie Johnson. Another Cy-Hawk meet has come to its conclusion. What an atmosphere here tonight at Hilton Coliseum. Annie, a lot of fun. What did you think of tonight's performance? We'll go from both sides first with Iowa.
Definitely, Iowa put up a great performance, as did both teams. They fought for it, as we talked about. They didn't start on the start. They didn't have the start that they were hoping for on bars, but they came back, nailed those vault lineups, really excelled on floor. That is what gave them the momentum to finish strong on beam, and there were no major mistakes there, and I'm sure that they are happy to clinch this title win unofficially over Cyclone Nation at their home territory.
Looking at the unofficial scores, Iowa 196-825, and Iowa State 196-250, and if those unofficial scores hold up the Cy-Hawk series at a dead heat, they are tied. It'll all be decided on April 26th as the two softball programs will face off against each other. And you wouldn't want to have it any other way. Well, you as an Iowa State grad, I can understand you might have some other thoughts, but when you look at the Cy-Hawk series 2022, finally in its year back, coming off of the COVID year, and it's going to go to the final event, the softball game back on April 26th. Highly competitive, exactly what you would want out of a rivalry.
Absolutely, and that's what the fans want. They want to see it head-to-head. I know Jamie Pollard, Iowa State's athletic director, always says that gymnastics is in that position to really sway it one way or the other. And so softball as well, being at the end of the season for that. So it's an exciting series for sure for all Iowa natives.
So taking a look at some of the individual winners tonight, Linda Zivit with a 9.925 on vault for the Hawkeyes. On bars, Ariana Arrego with a 9.8 on beam for the Cyclones. Bridget Killian, Adeline Kenlin with a 9.9 each. And you look at the floor routine, and you talked about it, Annie, how dominant the Hawkeyes are on the floor. Lauren Guerin and Jaquavia Henderson, each with a 9.975.
They continue to share that reign on this event, and I am sure they will continue to excel in the rankings right here on the floor exercises, mainly due to Lauren and Jaquavia's 9.975s that you saw tonight.
So about to duck out of here from Hilton Coliseum. Annie, any final words before we let the senior night festivities take shape?
Yes, I just want to say that the seniors from both teams should be so proud of themselves. They really have led these teams to great heights and made historical meets, to say the least. And I know that the families share in this too. Parents sacrifice just as much to get to this moment. And so it's really exciting to see some families travel across the world to make it here for senior night. So despite the outcome, no matter the score, every single athlete here should be proud of their performance that they put up.
All right, just some final words. Big thanks to our crew for all of their hard work this gymnastics season. It's their efforts that make what you've seen possible tonight. Both teams will compete on the road next week. Iowa will take on California and Berkeley on March 13th, and Iowa State will head to Missouri for a quad meet a week from tonight. For Andy Johnson, I'm Alex Cohen saying so long for the final time from Hilton Coliseum. For the final score, Iowa 196-825 and Iowa State 196-500. All events airing on ESPN Networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app, and this has been a presentation of ESPN. Good night, everybody.